So a little bit of background of me. Before coming to Millbrook, I had never taken an art class before. The only thing going through my mind was sports. Soccer, basketball, track. My dad grew us up to only care about those things because that's what we were going to college for. But Millbrook requires us to do an art. And doing that, I took photography. And I met a wonderful person, Miss Macrae, who taught me how to express myself through the art of photography, because English has always been a struggle for me. In my writing, I can never vocalize what my emotions were, and because of that, it was hard. So I found photography. These are two portrait photography portraits that I took my sophomore year. They are called Van Dyke's. As you can see, I enjoy taking portrait photography instead of landscape, only because I believe that through portrait photography, using a model, I can convey an emotion, which I cannot get out of the object. I use emotion in all of my photography. I think for me, that's the only way that I can express myself. So going to the next one. These are 3 images I took in the same passage. I was fortunate enough to go to Guatemala last year and on a service trip and help the poorest kids of Guatemala City. And I wanted to convey the different emotion that you would expect when you go or you see pictures of kids working, the parents working in dumps. You see sad faces and just depression, and I didn't want that. I wanted joyful faces, and I wanted to show that safe passage is a place that kids are able to be themselves and not be trapped in the poverty that they are surrounded. And then my last image that I took, is a different emotion. I wanted my audience also to get something out of the image that they see. I don't want them to just walk past and be like, oh, that's pretty. Because I have to look at it and see different details that they wouldn't see the first time looking at it. So this is a 3D print. I mounted my installation on a brick, and each side of the brick was an eye. And I did this because I wanted the audience to feel a bit of discomfort and mystery through this image. So I came up with this expression. How can I combine my interests with my heritage, with my love of photography, and my love of movement? So my journey began looking at an artist called Hindu Island. What intrigued me the most was how he could blur the line between contemporary and traditional. He was able to take historical images of paintings and make it himself by taking out the main model, which is a white politician, and put in an African American man in a time period that African American people were not in power. And also he made it himself by combining the background and the foreground, which you can see in the next images. So his portraits, you can see how he took the prints and put them along as well in the background, also in the foreground. Here we go, the next one. So I wanted to incorporate that myself, but I wanted to bring my heritage as well. So I am half black, half Argentine, and I wanted to take my African side, and so I went to a textile shop. The first thing that caught my eye was this big Obama tapestry. As soon as I walked in, I fell in love. It was a hoarder's paradise, and if anyone's seen my room, it's a mess, because I love textiles. I love the detail that they have and the stories behind them. So the one thing that stood out to me were the African prints, by all means. They were vibrant, they were beautiful, and sorting through them, the only thing I kept in mind were what prints I was able to replicate in the foreground as well as the background. I left the shop with 14 prints all cut into 1.5 yards. So how I did this was I photographed my subject in front of the print, and then I scanned in the print individually. The reason why I didn't photograph the print was because I wanted the highest resolution. By doing that, I came across a challenge. The challenge was that the exposure were too different. The first image with Ms. Macrae is a raw edited nothing done to it. And you can see that the background is a lot darker and the scan print is a lot lighter. And another challenge that I had was editing. All 4 years I've had a predominantly white class, and because of that I've only worked with white models. And I used, as you can see here, colder colors on whiter people because that's what matched. I never used yellows or oranges because it didn't really, I never had to. So you can see this one is my first edit that I had to do, and you can tell that he looks washed out and he does not have that much detail. And the second one you can see that you can start to look at the detail and see the detail in the print as well as his face. Another challenge that I had was the background and the print. You can see that her face stays the same, but the background is a lot darker. And I had to create a mask over each print that I had to carve out. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to alter each print to match the foreground. I matched the background, which caused a big problem because I didn't want to alter the subject. The last challenge that I had also, it's a slight difference. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the first image is a lot more orange, and I had to find the balance between putting too much orange and yellow and keeping it as well blue. So it was an ongoing challenge. I started at the computer screen for a long time, but afterwards I was able to overcome them. And another challenge that I had that it was more of a goal that I set out for myself was I wanted to use natural lighting. I had never worked with natural lighting before, and I wanted to challenge myself in a way that I hadn't before. I always used studio lighting, but this time I went to the dance studio and I photographed everyone in there. The challenge with that was I had 10 people scheduled, and we started at 10 o'clock and ended at 12. Throughout that time, as you may know, the sun rises, and exposure was all over the board. There were some people that were exposed perfectly, and other people that were overexposed and underexposed. That created an editing challenge that I had because I couldn't get everyone to be the same. But with the help of Ms. Macrae and my honors photography, who gave me a lot of critique and feedback, I was able to get every image the same. So, how I was able to go with print, you can see here, I put on the different image on the different side the print and I edited that separately. Then I copied and pasted onto the image of Ms. Macrae, and I had to cut the corners out so I didn't have to be loose. And I had a lot of challenges with that. Some of these would take 20 minutes, others would take 2 45-minute blocks, depending on how much detail they had. This one is a simpler one that only took me a couple of minutes, but as you will see, Maya's, which were banana leaf, took me 2 45-minute classes because the surrounding was all black and I only wanted the green. And it was a very tedious task that I had to embark on, but I was up for the challenge. So yeah, you can just see pixel was always a challenge because as Lucinda said, I'm very picky in how my work is and I want everything to be perfect and no one notices. So it took me a lot of time to just move just a smidge. You can look at that side. These are my final images. Oh, sorry, this is another thing. Another way I wanted to incorporate my heritage was through the pose that my models had. As you may know, in Africa, I do not stand by this, but in Africa, women are not highly up. They are uneducated only because they don't have the opportunity to be educated. They are only kept in their house and only cook and take care of the kids, while the men are out being educated and living their lives and working. And so a way that I did this is having women doing submissive pose, not showing their entire body, but only showing half of it and looking at the camera, while men were straight on and looking dominant. So these are my final images, as you can see. And I quickly, these are okay. These are my other set of images. But I really want to quickly go back to my second one with the kids from Singing Passage. I forgot to add in the story behind those images. If we could ever get to that. To the second slide. Okay, if we can't get back to that, it's fine, but I just want to tell you guys the story. So when going to Guatemala, I just brought my camera with me, and every day we had an hour of playtime. And I would just photograph them laughing and just being themselves. But there was one girl in particular that I photographed, and out of courtesy, I showed her the image, and all of them, she started to cry. And I didn't know why. I think maybe she was overwhelmed. But then later that month, during lunchtime, she came up to me and said she was so grateful. And she told me that she'd never seen herself before. And I was taken back by that because I never realized how much we take our phones and our mirrors for granted. I never realized how powerful a single image can be to someone. And it showed me like the power that photography has on people. And that's why I wanted to continue with photography. I wanted to show that there is so much power behind the camera that no one knows about. And also, going back to the power, I installed my photographs in the chapel because the chapel is a powerful place. It's a sacred place for everyone to gather, and it's a place that these pictures can be shown to the entire community, and everyone can embrace them and have an emotion out of them, and just see the beauty and like discover it from these images. It's an experience that I want everyone to have, and I thought that if I put them in any other places, they might not be seen or they might be tampered with, and I didn't want that. I wanted everyone to have that and feel a sense of community while looking at these images. So yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If there are any questions, I don't know what the slide is going to happen. Thank you.